We are live. Welcome to today's very special live stream. And it's special because we're going to be joined by not one, not two, but maybe two and a half special guests. We'll see if the half can make it. Tuesday and Andrew Goti are what some people would call animal rights extremists, right? Now, they would call them extremists not only because they're animal rights activists, which they are, they actually met at a slaughterhouse protest, but they're actually being called extreme for a different reason. It's actually because they take their baby to the slaughterhouse protests that they go to. They take their baby to slaughterhouses for animal rights activism events. Now, the animal rights protests that they're taking them to, they're best known for where animal rights activists are attempting to stop the trucks. They're trying to stop the trucks to document what's going on in the trucks at these slaughterhouses. They're called vigils, and these are the kind of events that they're taking the baby to, that they go to. Now, obviously, this is something that has been received by many as a not so inspirational thing, let's say. A lot of non-vegans are finding this to be actually offensive in a way. And we'll get onto that in a moment. But not only that, I want to mention one more thing before we bring them on as well, is that Tuesday was actually going into farms to investigate and rescue animals, even while she was heavily pregnant. So her daughter, Arabella, the baby we're talking about here, the baby in question, was actually been involved in activism before she was even born, which I think is pretty cool. But as I mentioned earlier, not as you might expect, not everybody thinks this is cool. All right. So most people outside of the animal rights circles aren't finding this story to be inspirational. The kind of things that people have been saying about Tuesday and Andrew, they've been saying that, well, I think most of these have been directed at Tuesday, actually. They've said that she's a terrible mother. They've said that her child should be taken off her. They've said that the baby Arabella, would be safer with in the hands of the government. So the government should take the baby away. They've called her scum. They've said she should be in jail. So they've taken a lot of shit for the kind of decisions they've been making with their own baby, which really shouldn't be anyone's business but their own. And in today's interview, we're going to find out more about these animal rights extremists and these vegan parents. And we're going to find out about their animal rights ethics. We're going to find out the kind of pushback they've been receiving for taking their baby to slaughterhouses. So please join me right now, today, this very moment, in welcoming Tuesday and Andrew and maybe Arabella to the channel. So welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thanks, Dave. Good to be with you.
Thanks so much for having us on.
No, thank you. Is Arabella, I didn't actually ask you earlier, is Arabella going to join us at any point today, or is she having a nap?
Might be. She's been a little cranky today, a bit out of sorts with a move. She's having a nap. She might join us shortly.
No worries. All right, sounds good. So let's kick it off with the beginning. All right, let's start right from the start. So what influenced you guys to go vegan in the first place? I think that's a good, best place to start, really, isn't it? Right at the beginning.
Start with you.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm newer to this. I was in my third decade before I sort of considered animal rights in any way serious. I just never really encountered the topic or never met a vegan before. I was in a book club with some friends and we decided, hey, let's check out this documentary, Earthlings, as something different. And pretty much immediately I was absolutely horrified and went vegan within a week. So yeah, it had a big impact on me, very graphic footage. I think you kind of need to see that to make it hit home and to have those images burned into your mind to remind yourself each time that you go to eat something that this is the consequence, you know. So the process it hit me hard. And then I joined groups to see were there other people out there thinking the same way that have been influenced and writing off their word. There were plenty of groups that were doing something about it, trying to spread the good word, you know, and actually peace for all, to use a religious term. But so I was indoctrinated into the cult and joined my fellows to try and do something special. Which is how we met, as I said, because, you know, I'm from the south, she's from the north, and I used to travel up with some people from Dublin up to Northern Ireland, which I consider, you know, universal peace talks, to join us all together. And I met lovely. She was very impressed by her outside a slaughterhouse. And you mentioned there that one thing that we try to do at the vigils is to stop the trucks, because they won't stop willingly, bringing pigs into the gas chambers and slaughterhouses and all that. So yeah, she was very brave. She stood in front of a semi truck. There was potholes around as well, and the guards or the police that were there, they were quite concerned that, geez, this woman is really dedicated. She seems to really, really value animals' lives and would almost put her own at risk.
They weren't concerned for my life. It was because I was on the truck as it was moving. They were concerned about their own financial impact of that, not about my life. But yeah, on that, like, sorry, I'm going really red again here.
I just wanted to say quickly, like, when Andrew saw you working out at the slaughterhouse, love at first sight, and seeing someone stopping trucks outside of a slaughterhouse. It's pretty cool that you were inspired by that. You know, a lot of people out there would a lot of people out there think that people that do this are crazy and that they find it to be ridiculous. You know, and it's great to know that there are people out there that see people doing this and they're like, that, you know, wow, that inspires me. Like, that's because it inspires me too, you know. And I think some non-vegans as well, actually. I think some non-vegans do find this inspirational. They're the ones that have a fucking head on their shoulders and two brain cells to rub together, because it is inspirational to see someone standing up for those that have, you know, no legal voice anyway, no voice that makes a difference. It's amazing to see people who stand up and stand in front of massive trucks to make that point, you know, and defend them. I think it's really inspirational. And Tuesday, so tell us about you then, your beginnings in veganism and how you got into this world, you know, the animal rights world.
I've been vegan most of my life. I went vegetarian when I was 5. I've never consumed eggs or dairy. I just always felt like it was wrong. And I couldn't articulate that as a 5-year-old child. I just knew that I loved animals. And when I got older and I made the conscious decision at 16 to be officially vegan, I knew it was the right thing to do. I was brought up, I was too young to officially hunt SAB until I was over 18. So I was brought along by my parents to support the SAB. So we stood at the side of the field with our flags. Every Saturday, instead of going like the kids club and dance and things, we were outside Tesco's, which in Northern Ireland used to be the old Stewart's, and we were there petitioning where their meat came from. We were petitioning live export, testing on animals, and also feminist rights, workers' rights, anything that was a just cause. So it was just something I was brought up in, and I just felt compelled to carry that on, and with a somewhat decent head on my shoulders to go further with it and to push it further than what I was brought up with, because there was still a limit. There was still maybe that's a little bit too far, whereas I don't believe that compassion has any limit, and I don't believe that there should be anything that should stop you achieving compassion all around.
Right. So let me just check I'm understanding this correctly. So your parents raised you, taking you to activism events, or you convinced them to take you? Like, were they the ones that were doing it already? Like,
they weren't vegan.
Okay.
They weren't vegan or even vegetarian when I was growing up, but they were welfareists. Like, I don't think that you should abuse this animal, but yeah, I'll go and pay for that to happen because that's okay, but we'll petition it. So a bit of both. And then I just kept on and on and on. And I just kept doing more. Okay.
Cool. And they were going with you to, when you said that when you were younger, they were taking you to these places, the events, to go and protest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Even like after school, like my mum was walking us around like all the streets back in the day when you would have done door-to-door collections for blankets or tins of food for shelters.
Right.
Collecting signatures. Yeah, they were very, very supportive. They started it with us, of course, and then they continued supporting it.
That's really inspirational, and that's really it. Now it's no surprise as to why you raising Arabella in the way you're doing, because you know your parents did a. I mean, obviously they weren't vegan, but they still did a great job supporting you and getting you out to these things before you were old enough to do it. And it sounds to me that maybe you've taken a bit of inspiration from that, and you're going to do the same thing, right? So you're going to go a step further, and you're going to actually jump on board with Arabella and get in there and do it with her, that's really nice. Actually, really cool. Kind of all comes back around, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You bring it all back around. So let's get to the I almost made a really bad pun. I was going to say let's get to the meat of it, but probably not the right kind of pun to be making.
Food stuff, David, as you know.
It's like it could. I'm talking about coconut meat is what I'm talking about when I say let's get to the meat of the matter, right? Get to the meat of the matter. Coconut meat of the matter. So what actually is inspiring you guys then? So I know we've kind of touched on it now, but like I'd love to know the thought process you have as to why to take Arabella your baby to these slaughterhouse protests. I'm focusing on the slaughterhouse protests because obviously taking a baby to a march, no problem, right? Taking a baby to I don't know, a cube of truth probably is not really a problem. I mean, you're in the street, right? It doesn't matter. But going to a slaughterhouse, I mean, a lot of people would find that to be like, oh my God, really? Baby at a slaughterhouse? Oh my goodness. So take me through the thought process as to why Arabella should come along with you guys to do that, rather than, for example, one of you staying home and the other one goes to the protest and then you switch and then, you know, take turns kind of thing. Yeah, talk me through it. Help me and for everybody else, help us understand how you got to that point where you made that decision.
I want to touch on that. Whenever you say taking a baby to like a protest, like a march, no problem. Yeah. I actually think taking a baby to a march is as dangerous as going to a slaughterhouse. Marches are known for having oppositions there, things getting riled up. Plus, it's longer, it's walking around. Whereas when you're at a slaughterhouse where you have an agreement, you have a safety barrier, you have a police station on the road who often come up and down to check what you're doing, and you have an agreement where everyone shakes hands. The baby's behind the barrier and we're there doing our thing. So the baby is not at any risk whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, well, through Tuesday's groundwork where she did put herself on the line, and like I said, holding a truck at the front, it was that sort of dedication that the guys working there and the owner of the slaughterhouse said, okay, like, we're dealing with some serious people here. We're going to have to give them some respect. We don't want this to continue this way. So it was through that effort that she then pressed and kept pressing them to negotiate that they would stop once a month. And so we're not putting Arabella through that process of stopping the trucks.
Got it. Yeah.
But
although it would be very effective, wouldn't it?
I would do
It'd be very effective at stopping the truck if you were out in there with the pram, you know. But I mean, sorry, that's a poor joke. I'm sorry.
No, I would totally do it. Like when I was pregnant, I was there standing in front of them, so it's fine.
Right? Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, it's extremely effective. I bet they stopped every time.
There is that symbolism, David. Just to say, like, Arabella is now 6 months old. And we regularly protest at a pig slaughterhouse, and those pigs are going in as infants as well. They're 6 months old at slaughter age. So I think when you see the two together, you're taking a 6-month-old to see other 6-month-olds going in to be killed. I think that should spark people's imagination. Go, oh, okay, what's the big difference here?
We just need to look beyond that. But the reason we take her is because it's an hour away from our house. So an hour there and an hour back, plus a few hours there. I can't leave her for that long during the day. I can leave her at night when I go out on action because it's what I have to do. It's my job. But I can't leave her during the day. And it just makes sense to bring her. It's no different than any other working mum bringing their child and the parents going along together with their baby.
Right. That's
someone did say, oh, what about, what if the workers there get violent and they start attacking you because you're protesting? Well, that just speaks volumes about, what's happening in there. They're doing violence. So they're going to behave violent towards people just because you're protesting. So,
and they won't anyway. We have an agreement. We've been doing it for years.
Yeah. I think I guess that would be one of the concerns, right? That the workers might. But I mean, are the workers going to lash out at the baby? I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, the thing is, though, I guess I'd say no, obviously. But then, I guess on the flip side of that, we still have to remember that what they're doing in there is soul destroying, right? And that I don't feel pity for them. Don't get me wrong. I really don't pity them, but we still have to acknowledge that their souls are being destroyed by what they're doing. So there is kind of that risk factor, but then you as you already know, there's security there. They're not going to allow anything. Even if the worst case scenario happens, someone came out crazed, the security's not going to allow them to get away with doing anything to anyone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think a big concern that a lot of vegans actually have asked, and I have this question myself as well. I think we're all wondering the same thing, is regarding if there's any concern around. So when you are at these slaughterhouses, when the pigs are coming through, now the pigs are making a lot of sounds. They're obviously distressed, and I don't know if you believe in this or not, but it's kind of, I've been to enough vigils myself to know that when these trucks arrive, I don't want to say energy because it sounds like some spiritual bullshit. I mean, I'm not into that, but the kind of vibe of the area, let's say the emotions just kind of take a plummet like through the ground. It feels like all of your kind of that any happiness that was there is now gone when this truck arrives, and this feeling we all feel is just very like, it's very sad. It's very strong sadness. We feel like very strong kind of emotions. Do you have any concern at all that Arabella would be, I don't know, would pick up on any of this, and that it could affect her to be hearing and seeing these kinds of things, even unconsciously, because of course she's a baby. She's not thinking like, oh, what's going on here? She's probably not thinking anything like that. But I don't know, do you have a concern that maybe any of this could actually affect her at all?
No.
No, haven't really considered it. I know if she sees, let's say, our own beloved dogs, cats, and pigs getting harmed, if she can physically see that happen, yeah, that would probably raise alarm bells. Now, mind you, at the slaughterhouse, we're not actually seeing the pigs getting their throats slit or gassed. There is a terrible stench in the air because you've got 4,500 pigs.
But she doesn't know what that is.
No, I mean, it's a horrible smell. And, even that in the air can actually, I suppose, damage your health if you spend too long.
But it's not, they're not talking about her health, they're talking about psychological trauma. And yes, while that is real, because I'm not talking about the whole energy thing either, it is true that children will pick up on what is around them, and that does affect their development. But when she is on my chest, and I'm very, very calm, because I don't feel any emotion when I'm at these slaughterhouses. I don't feel empathy or sadness or anything. I go completely numb, because years and years of doing it, if I kept on breaking down, and every time I went into a farm, I would put my team at risk. I would fuck up everything we're doing, so I have to stay calm. So my child won't pick up on my negative energy. And even if I did have a moment, like I could be sitting in the house crying one day if we've had an argument, or I watch something sad on TV, or I'm just having a down day. Should I shield my child from every negative emotion? Or should I show her that negative emotion is okay, but you've got your safe place, you've got your mum and you've got your dad who are stable and who love you. And negativity will happen in the world. You're going to have to know that this is what it is, but you've got your safe place.
We would also then, as a team, if we have a number of people with us, we'll go and have, a coffee or a vegan sausage roll and try and lift our spirits, because it is a very sad event to go to, and you can do nothing about it. Those animals are doomed in a very, short lifespan. Whereas if you go, I suppose, liberating animals in a farm, at least you can actually help that way. But it is quite depressing. But we try and raise our moods afterwards,
Sure, of course, yeah. And then, I remember, I mean, I've not done it in a while, but I was at one point doing very regular vigils, and the going and doing something after is so important. It's so important not just to go home. If you can, if you can do something together, even if it's like 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. It's just so much better to do that before going back home to your what was that? Sorry?
He said hug your wife. Absolutely. Give a hug to someone after a vigil, no matter what it is. Be there for each other. Like I said, I don't get affected anymore. Maybe one day I'll have a massive fucking PTSD breakdown in about 10 years, but now I don't. So I give support to people who do feel it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's why you can handle it. Like, that's all part of it, right? Like if you're giving that support to other people, so that helps you, that you might not be consciously processing it, but that is helping you process it subconsciously, that you're helping somebody else. This is one of the ways of coping. I've noticed it. You're totally right in that some people need to be comforted to feel better, and some people need to comfort to feel better. Everybody can help each other, and we just find who has what. I don't want to call it a skill, but let's say who is a comforter and who needs to be comforted, and you establish that very quickly, and then it can be it's a great, you can get a great team from doing that, and it's really important for sure.
Lead on from that, David. Like Arabella will grow up knowing, I suppose, a very dedicated subset of society, the vegans, that are really compassionate, really generous, considerate, and supportive of each other. So she will have that, and she knows she can fall back on that if she does see something upsetting, a cultural norm in society that's terribly violent against her non-human family members and the likes of those. But we want to give her the opportunity to be able to do something about this terrible reality that she's been born into, the matrix or carnism. So we're going to opt her out of that, and she can then choose, I suppose, if she wants to go back into it. But she's going to be born vegan and remain vegan under our care, because we know that's nutritionally quite adequate for her. Sorry, just going on a rant.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we're touching on a few topics there, for sure. And I think, I mean, if one day she comes back and watches these videos, I'm sure she'll be. I mean, as a teenager, maybe she wouldn't be too pleased, but as an adult, she would be very pleased. And I say as a teenager because teenagers are little dickheads, right? And then they'll get very angry about this kind of thing. But once they're past that stage, once she's past that stage and she's like a young adult, the same as me. Like my mum raised me with not as a vegan but as a vegetarian, and my mum was an activist, and I was fortunate to have that whole knowledge from her from a young age, and I went through my period of not liking it, but I never went and ate animals, but I didn't rebel that much, but I rebelled a little bit. But now as an adult I look back and I'm like, shit, I'm so appreciative of that upbringing. And so I can tell you from personal experience that she one day she'll look back and be very thankful for you guys bringing her into this, and
it's nice
not lying to her.
Your mother probably inspired you to stand up as an individual and not mind being set apart from the crowd. Even if you're unpopular, at least you feel like you're right in your heart.
Definitely, to stand up for what you believe in. Absolutely, stand against the the masses. When you've been raised in this way, which as you're doing with Arabella, now being raised as a vegan by people who are not just doing it for whatever, they're doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it because they are ethical people who are going to talk about animal rights. They're going to talk about the wrongs in the world. Then being raised in that way, it does raise you in a way where you have this inner kind of a resilience, I'd say, like a resistance inside you that is like, okay, if something is wrong and I know it's wrong, but everyone says it's right, I will not say it's right. I will say it's wrong. And I feel like, being raised that way personally, me at age 31, that's who I am. If I see something that's wrong and I believe it's wrong and everyone's telling me it's right, I'm the one to put my hand up and say, no, this is wrong. And it gets me in trouble a lot, not just with animal rights. I get in arguments and I get in shit. I've had it all my life. But I'm very, very thankful that this was instilled in me by my mum, because without it, I would just be, going along with life and doing what everyone else does and never questioning anything. And I guess that would be a nice way to live, to be honest.
It would be a lot easier sometimes, but
but I would choose this way every time. If I could choose to live like the Matrix. If I could choose to live in the Matrix or the Matrix, or I could choose to be free and suffer for being free, I would probably choose to be free and suffer for being free rather than choose to be kind of mindless or numb. So I absolutely think you're doing it the right way. And as I said, I'm a living example of it. What happens if you do it that way? Well, I'm here, so hopefully I'm not too messed up. I'm only a little bit messed up.
Just a bit.
So my mum actually, she showed me Slaughterhouse footage at a very young age, by the way, because when I was young, I started to ask questions like, why can't I eat at McDonald's? Right? Well, I want to get what's on the TV. Why can't I have what's on the TV? I want the McDonald's burgers or the KFC or whatever. So when I started asking these questions as quite a young person, like the TV is inspirational for little kids, influences kids. My mum had to, suck it up. She had to be like, right, well, first of all, she told me, well, those animals in the farms that you see in the fields, you see those fields, like you like them, don't you? Yeah. Well, that's them. They kill them. And then it got to a point where that wasn't enough, where I was like, I didn't believe her or I didn't get it. And so she showed me some PETA videos, like literal VHS cassette tape videos. We're talking like way back, on the little TV combo. You remember those TV combos? You put it in. I remember it pretty. I don't remember the actual images. I remember one of them, but anyway, I remember the whole scene. She showed me the chickens. There was chickens on the production line, and they were sawing off the beaks. That was one of the things that really stuck with me. That was really got me as a kid. Now, some people would say, "Oh my God, this is your mum showed you that as a child. That's child abuse. I couldn't believe that. I can't believe she did that." Now, for me, obviously, I know that I needed to see that, and I'm happy I saw that because it set me up for the life that I'm on right now. What about you guys? Yeah, exactly. I wanted to know, what about you guys? Like, is this something that you've thought about? Like your plan with Arabella? Are you going to show her these kind of images when she's quite young, or are you planning to wait a bit? Like, what's your idea to kind of educate her as she grows up?
Well, because she's grown up with direct activist parents, and our team are always here, they're like her family as well. And it's always activism, activism. Don't get me wrong, we get fucked up and have a beer and talk normal shit. Well, normal shit as well, but it's mostly activism. And when she's sitting here on me, I'm watching graphic footage that we've obtained from in these forums and picking out bits that I need. So she's going to see that. And when she gets to an age where she's able to ask, she'll be told exactly what it is. And the animals that we have, I'll be like, well, he came from this farm and he doesn't have a tail because some fucking pervert cut his tail off. I'll be explaining that in exactly how I talk.
Sure, okay.
And I don't really, when people say like, you're showing them scary stuff, well, what about you who takes your kid out trick-or-treating around people's doors at Halloween, waiting on some big fucking creep opening a door wearing a mask? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go begging for sweets.
Well, there's that, and then there's a butcher shop, or even some wedding celebration.
Yeah.
Where you have a pig roasting on a spit, a full pig, and you got full limbs hanging off, the cleavers and all the rest. So it's out there. It's just speciesism. So we're trying not to discriminate against any animal and treat them all with equal respect. I just show her whatever she asks for, she gets to see, and what she doesn't ask for, she'll see anyway. If she's like snooping around or just nosing or pottering around as a child, she won't be directly shown, but if she sees it, she sees it. Well, I mentioned
she'll have our support.
I want to give her the opportunity to stand up for her family, for her non-human family members. I don't want her to feel powerless just because she's a child. Like Greta Thunberg, I suppose, in a way, was like swatted away. Oh, she's too young to have her own thoughts. Same as Genesis Butler. Genesis Butler decided to remove herself from her state school and homeschool herself so she could focus on the things that the parents aren't being responsible for, the existential crisis of zoonotic pandemics, antibiotic resistance, climate change, massive contribution from animal agriculture. So, we'd be of a mind that we'd like to focus on the things that are really important personally, which would be her non-human animal friends, what her parents are passionate about, and obviously the threat to all of us, which we're now going through because of animal agriculture and the ramifications. So, there's no time, like you say, for baby steps. Unfortunately for Arabella, she's going to, as everybody else should be, all hands on deck. And I don't want to totally freak her out or overwhelm her, so we will be careful. To make sure that she has a safe place where she can ask us questions and we can reassure her and all the rest. And if we notice that she is getting, quite upset by this, we'll do what we can.
No, she'll have to man the fuck up.
Man, fuck up.
She won't.
Josie keeps saying.
What's that? Sorry.
People say, "Well, what if she goes back on the meat?" I say, "Well, then you're going to get cattle prodded,
That might be one of his other questions. Let him ask.
We'll come to that. Yeah, it's something I do want to get into a little bit, but we can definitely come to that. And I think you said she might get overwhelmed, right? And she might, I don't know, maybe it could affect her in a bad way, or you talk about these things, but I know from experience, I've met a lot of vegans who actually were very upset with their parents because they had to find out themselves, right? So it's like a double whammy. It's like, oh my God, I found out all this horrific shit about the animals, all this shit. I've been paying for this. I've been eating it. Oh my God. And what's worse, my parents raised me believing all of this stuff. And it's even worse if they knew, right? It's like, did they know? Did they know it was going on? And then it's like, okay, and you tell them, and they're like, yeah, I know, but I don't really give a shit. That cuts even deeper, So I think I understand your concerns, but I would say, again, from experience, if I was raised without all of this, and then I found out my mum knew but didn't tell me because she didn't want to hurt my feelings, I'd be like, well, my feelings are now double hurt because I'm disgusted in myself for what I've been paying for, and I'm disgusted in you for hiding it from me. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I think, yes, obviously. What's that? Sorry?
I think it breaks trust in your parent. If your parent can lie to you about one of the biggest things in your life, what else are they lying to you about? Kids need honesty.
Definitely.
It'll definitely build up their resilience, because I suppose kids, you have to protect them from the evils of the world, but you shouldn't be, participating in that evil. You come clean if you're doing something terrible in your family name or whatever, So
Yeah, you're protecting them from yeah, exactly. You're protecting them from the evil, but protecting them doesn't, yeah, you're totally right. Protecting someone from evil doesn't mean that you lie to them that it doesn't actually exist. It's like, no, protecting them is teaching them it and teaching them how to overcome it. That's how you protect them from evil.
Exactly.
Right? There are bad
I
people out
totally
there.
agree.
You tell her there are bad people out there. For example, they want to hurt you. You don't,
Yep.
that it exists. What do we do about that? Well, here is a list of things you can do about that to make sure that you never let this happen. Like, you can always, you're a step ahead. That's how you protect somebody, not by telling them there's no bad people in the world.
Exactly.
That's how you set them up for a very, very tough life. Where they're going to be, the second they leave your home, they're faced with all of this horrible shit. Because a lot of parents do this to kids, they teach them like, oh, the world is a big fluffy place full of rainbows and unicorns and everything is fine. And then they go to uni and get fucking mugged, or
Yeah.
if they're a girl, like some horrible guy tries it on and doesn't take no for an answer, and then, well, no one ever taught me this. Like, what the fuck? Why do my parents never
Exactly.
teach me that people can be like this? And then
These
you
things
failed.
can happen
You
no matter
failed.
what.
Yeah, these
Whatever.
things can
It
happen.
could still happen, but she's going to have the confidence to deal with it.
Exactly. And and it's interesting, isn't it, how a lot of parents would agree with me on what I just said, in that, yeah, we have to teach our kids that there are bad people. Yes, we teach our kids that. Yeah, cool. We teach them how to get away from this. Like, don't speak to strangers, don't accept sweets, candy from strangers, the basic shit. Yeah, all parents agree. Okay, cool. We also have to teach them that there are these horrible industries that are abusing animals for profit. Oh, no, don't teach them that bit. No, that's a step too far. Like, no, we're going to pretend the animals are hugged and cuddled to death. Don't tell them they have their throat. No, you can't tell them they have their throat slit. My God. But you can tell them that all the other stuff that they should know, just not that truth, right? And there really isn't much of a difference, really, when you think about it like that. There's not really like the parents, they seem to think there's this big thick line between teaching the kids the way of the world and teaching kids about what happens to the animals and that they shouldn't contribute to it. It's like they see this big line. There isn't a line. It's just being a fucking responsible parent, That's all it is.
The perfect parent, but do your fucking damn best, and that starts with the fucking truth.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think, again, to be responsible is to let your children know who is committing violence unnecessarily, who is not compassionate through and through. The rates of domestic violence go up wherever a slaughterhouse is erected. Like you say, these people, unfortunately, are destroying their souls, going in, killing or murdering innocent, defenseless animals all day. What does that do to you? I think it desensitizes you to violence, or it attracts psychotic people to work in there and get off on it.
It's a lose-lose.
You might have heard of this, David. There was a study done in I think it was a California jail, where they gave the inmates opportunity to go on a vegan diet for 6 months and also get anger management classes and all the rest, Bible studies. And for the people who did it, their recidivism rates dropped by like 85%. Now, that could be contributed or attributed to possibly not ingesting cortisol, so they're not as stressed, which kind of helps you to chill out. There's also the vegan philosophy of just, peace to all beings and not doing unnecessary violence and just trying to help other vulnerable non-human animals. And I think it's a good start. It's a good principle. So I would like her to be aware of, farmers, slaughterhouse workers, even people that, would roast an animal on a barbecue and say, well, look,
and cops.
Yeah, well, okay. Cops. Yeah, cops will stop our activities, liberating.
I'm joking.
Yeah, no, it's important. It is important, especially if you're going to be working in these circles, then it is important. The cops is also important to teach her about how they will sometimes, if not most of the time, work against you, but also as well, it's like I said, be truthful in that sometimes they'll work for you. I don't know about in Ireland, but in the UK, I've had the police work for me multiple times, and in Spain as well, I've had the police work for me. They've helped us. They've stopped some people that were being aggressive to us, and they've said no. Sometimes, I don't know, a clock is right. Was it? Well, a broken clock is right twice a day. Sometimes they actually, sometimes they actually come out and stand for your right to your freedom of speech. They sometimes come out and they're like, no, they can say what they want. Now leave them alone. sometimes they come and try and shut you down. It really is kind of a lottery, right? But these are things that definitely a young person needs to understand, that it can go both ways, and you need to be ready for whichever way it could go if you're going to be out there and protesting, right?
Yeah.
Now, onto some interesting stuff. We mentioned earlier on that some people have, well, I'm inspired by you, but some people aren't, right? Some people are really not inspired. Some people have been very aggressive online. I'm going to guess mostly online, but we'll find out in a minute, won't we, if it's been face to face as well. But they're saying the things like, yeah, she should be taken away. Arabella should be taken away. That Tuesday should be sent to prison. That, you know, this kind of hateful shit, which these comments were made online. Have you had to deal with a lot more of that, or is this just kind of like a little handful that, you know, that came up when you started talking about it, or is this like a continuous thing? Just take me through this, like what the kind of shit you have to deal with, and you know, how often do you get it?
It's pretty continuous.
Okay.
People love to scrutinize new mums anyway. The dad always gets a bye ball. It's always on the mum, which is complete bullshit, because we're both full-time parents as well as full-time activists. But yeah, I've had a lot of that. It's never face-to-face, because the cunts that say it know if they said it to my face, well, it just wouldn't be very pretty, would it? Like, so yeah. I wouldn't put up with that shit. But at the same time, I don't care what their opinion is of me. I know that I am a really good mum. He's a really good dad, and we're raising a fucking fantastic child. Not that I care that parents go out at the weekend and drink. That's fine, they can do that. But I don't sit there and go, I can't wait to get rid of my child for a Friday night so I can go out and fuck all around me and drink. I love being with my child. I've left her twice. She's now just over 6 months old. I've left her twice. But I've left her more than that. Unfortunately, I had an emergency cesarean and I had to go back to work 5 days after having her. I went out that night and I left her for 6 hours because what we were doing went a little bit, not wrong, a little bit off plan, but she was with her dad, and we've left her twice with a trusted member of our team. So I don't feel like I'm being irresponsible. I don't feel like she's being neglected, and she's the most happiest, confident child, and she is loved and well cared for and well adjusted. I don't see what the difference in that is, or the mum that goes and gets her nails done and spends 3 hours at the hairdresser's getting her hair done. I'm out doing my fucking job.
I what you said then, that resonated with me a bit as well, a lot, even what I've got this in my head on a personal note. I've got this kind of image in my head of that when I have a kid, then it's a new level of responsibility, and I believe that you shouldn't have a kid unless you're ready to devote practically your entire life to that child. It shouldn't be that the child is going to be this bit but the weekends are for me, and like, no, the child is your entire life. That's the way I believe it should be if you're going to have a kid. And if you're not ready for that, don't have a kid. And I see what you just said about some people are like, I can't fucking wait for the weekend to dump the kid. Mm-hmm. And then you see people's parents out at the weekend and getting absolutely fucking, not just like a bit drunk, we're getting absolutely like next level fucked and coking up and like all that horrible. And it's like, I don't know. I don't mean to judge, right? I honestly don't mean to judge, but I don't get it. I just don't get it.
See,
you know what I mean?
Or responsible. I'm not parent shaming because it's damn fucking hard, I suppose. I don't find it hard because I have good support. But one thing that kept cropping up was I didn't have time to take a pee whenever I had my baby. How has she got time to go out and liberate these animals? And I think your husband would not even let you not even take a fucking pee or a fucking shit and a bath in peace. What the fuck is wrong with your marriage? I have that support here where I can be the mum that cooks and cleans and looks after him, looks after the animals, and does my fucking job and looks after my child. Just because you're not capable of doing it doesn't mean I'm not. And I did. When she came along, she was not planned. Like, I was told 17 years ago I would never have children. And when she came along, it was a wow, what the fuck? I was drunk when I took the test, and we had been out on action. Like, I'd done the liberation of Lifton Connor for the Meet the Victims Northern Ireland. I'd been out every fucking night, not sleeping. I've been doing all sorts of shit. So it was unexpected, and I was like, I am flying to Israel to do activism. I'm flying to England. What the fuck am I going to do here? And I thought, well, I'm not aborting her because this is a much wanted child, but I'm also not stopping my activism because this is so important. My child is no more important in the world than anybody else's child, and that includes non-human kids. So I'm going to make this work, and we're going to work together as a team. And that's what we've done. And I think we've done a damn good job of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of stick, obviously. You mentioned that Tuesday was still pregnant when we were still trying to obtain as much footage as we could to put forward to a production company to make an upcoming documentary. So we did push a little bit beyond our kind of comfort zone when she was heavily pregnant. She's a vital member of the team and knows a lot about security to make sure that nothing bad ever happens to us. And in the 2 years that I've been doing that with her, nothing bad has, thankfully. So I always felt safe, as safe as you can. I mean, there are risks involved, but yeah, we get a lot of stick over that because, Arabella was unconsenting and we took her out into a dangerous situation.
But I knew what my capabilities were. Just because some women can't do something when they're pregnant doesn't mean that I couldn't. I knew at one point I wasn't able to climb certain walls or to run as fast. So I would set out as lookout or I would set out as driver. And the last week, so I was sensible. And if my team saw me struggling, they'd be like, hunker down in this hedge, we're going forward. They had my back. So I was safe.
And what we're referring to here, because I don't know if everybody knows quite what we're talking about here. We're talking about going out. You were going into farms at night undercover and trying to document and investigate and take footage and also take animals out of these farms, right? That's what we're talking about here, right? Yeah. Just so people know, because some people might not be following that we're not talking only about slaughterhouse protests. We're also talking about going into these farms and taking animals out, which is something I 100% support and have done myself, and we'll be releasing some videos, by the way, because obviously with these actions you have to wait a little while because you don't want the animals to be taken back and get caught and taken back. I think I have two videos to put together to put out some work that we did undercover, so I'm quite excited to put this out. I think a lot of people are going to be very surprised because it's not something I talk about a lot on this channel because I don't do it a lot, and also because it's like you can't really talk about it unless you're going to show it, and I've not been able to show it because it was like I don't even know when it was. It was a long time ago, and I've waited for a long time. You're going to sit on it, right? You can't just put it straight out there because of the risks. So, but I'm totally behind that.
Now we do,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm totally behind that. And back onto the kind of point here on criticism. Just kind of staying with that. So, I'm curious to know: have you had any criticism? I mean, obviously from non-vegans, you get in the shit, right? Like people saying shit like, oh, you should be put in prison, babies should be taken off you, the usual stupid shit that people say when it's the same thing. You know what's funny? They're saying the same kind of shit that they say to Miss Katie, that vegan teacher, because she has a vegan dog, right? It's the same kind of shit, like, oh, dogs should be taken away from you. You should be in jail, you animal abuser. Yeah. Like, it's the same crap, except, oh, no, it's a baby. Oh, you're a child abuser. Blah. It's just, they're just idiots. They don't know. They just don't know what they're talking about. And we'll get onto the nutrition side of things later because somebody did ask that question about baby nutrition, but I didn't want to get bogged down with that too much in the main interview because I'm more interested in the activism side of things, the ethics side of things rather than the diet side of things. But we'll come to the diet stuff a little bit later as well. But have you had any criticism from other vegans and other animal rights activists for taking Arabella to vigils and protests, or has it just been non-vegans that you've been taking shit from?
It's only been from vegans. The carnists.
What? Sorry, what? Yeah. Did I hear that right? It's only been from vegans.
Yeah. Vegans are the worst cunts in the world. It's proper anti-speciesist. I have to be truthful, and it's true.
Okay.
Anti-speciesist activists are fucking the salt of the earth. They're amazing. We have had international support. See these vegans. I'm not one of those vegans. Like, oh, where can I get this cheese from? Oh yeah, maybe if it has a bit of dairy in it, it's okay. Those
right.
have tore into us. Even ones that do activism have said all this shit. Ones that I've actually personally worked with in the field before have said all this shit. Oh, when I had my child became my whole entire world. I couldn't imagine leaving my child. You work full time, dickhead. I also go to fucking work. This is my job. So yeah, it's mostly been from vegans, to be quite honest.
Vegans who judge you for involving Arabella, basically. That they feel like it's why I don't understand. Like, what exactly? What are they judging you for? Like, what is the problem? I don't really get it. Why would a vegan have a problem with that?
It might be a level of conviction, and acting on your convictions. You're a vegan, maybe you're like, by diet, or you don't consume products of animals, but
Yeah.
to stand up in some way for our own freedoms, all the investigative work that we've done, coming forward and saying we want to fight for the right to rescue. And with that comes, some jeopardy to ourselves, that we could get incarcerated, we could get hit with a fine.
Right.
Yeah, they've said that we risk having our child taken off us, we risk going to prison. And I'm like, we actually have a plan in place for that. We've actually spoken to social services about this, and we have a plan in place that does not involve them. They've said they have no interest in us. It's nothing to do with them.
Right.
Some have said it's egotistical as well. And I'm like, the reason we actually do this and put it out there is because we want to inspire more people to become vegan, more vegans in Northern Ireland to become actually active. It's not egotistical, it's fucking scary what we do. Not what we do, but dealing with it in the aftermath and stuff.
It's depressing and dangerous,
Yeah. But we've had comments, just loads of shit like that. But it's mostly been from vegans. The carnists have said the odd thing, and it's usually she looks like she needs a good sausage, or she definitely doesn't eat lettuce. You've been called castrated, and you've a weak little voice because I do most of the and stuff.
I can do a death metal roar just like David.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Do you know I'm not going to get too far into this, right? Because we're not here to discuss this, but I'm starting to see I've seen a lot of criticisms from non-vegans about vegans. They say, oh, vegans, they fucking complain about everything, right? And in the past, I've always defended and I've said, well, we complain about what happens to the animals because it's fucking horrific. Like, it's not complaining, it's standing up for the animals, right? But the longer I spend in the kind of vegan world, and the longer I see, especially online, I'm not talking about face-to-face, I'm talking predominantly online, the more I see that I'm kind of starting to agree with them a little bit, that aside from the animal rights stuff, obviously being angry and being upset about animal rights and what happens to the animals is totally fair, but vegans do seem to get upset at fucking everything. Like everything, not animal rights related, it's just everything. Like David said the F word. Like, I've literally had vegans say, dude, you should stop swearing so much. And it's really it's not. I'm like, fuck off, man. Go fucking. Exactly. Is that all you've got to say to me right now? Is that all you could? You literally messaged me, you've emailed me. Is that really, you took time out of your day to tell me to stop swearing? Yeah. Have you got nothing better to do? Fuck me. Like, sometimes you just gotta ask yourself,
raped and you're worried about that. Like, what the fuck? You're cracking up. They said fucking raped while they're actually getting raped. But
it's fucked up. Yeah.
Cracking up.
Well, we all want the best for the animals, and I think the concern is that we all want each other to represent the cause as best as possible, so that we don't put people off.
Of course, yeah.
Different types and ways, different people align with different things. Just let people be.
I think
fighting for the animals. Fight.
I think the issue comes along with the individuals that we're talking about here. It's not all. Don't get me wrong here, but guys, anybody watching, I'm not ripping into vegans as like the whole. I'm ripping into the fact that there seems to be quite a lot of vegans who like to fucking complain about other vegans, right? And it's exhausting. And the worst part of it is the ones that are complaining, 9 times out of 10, they have no basis, no foundation for the complaint. So, for example, if there was a vegan who had a master's in, I don't know, something really, really impressive, like a PhD, like doctorate, and they complained about something directly linked to their PhD about another vegan, like, okay, I studied this and this thing is, they wouldn't complain, first of all, because they would be like, oh, I'm going to offer some constructive criticism because I'm an expert. But 9 times out of 10, it's not that. It's somebody who has no expertise, no experience, and they just say something because they thought it. And we all have to deal with the shit. It just pisses me off. And you're handling it when you say, the vegans are coming for you. What are these all experts and people who are experts in raising a baby? Have they studied it? Are they baby psychology experts? Are they legal experts? Who are these people, and how do they have the qualifications to tell you that what you're doing is wrong? They fucking don't. Anyway, I don't want to rant on about it. I'm just getting so fucking sick of it. Not just lately, but it seems to just been continuous since I personally started speaking out in public, and they seem to always be around, these people. And maybe it's not a vegan thing, actually. Maybe it's just a people thing. And no matter what you were talking about, these people would exist. Maybe if you were talking about fucking, I don't know, bridal dresses, there would be someone out there who just wants to complain about you. You know, it's like it doesn't matter, does it? The topic doesn't matter. There'll always be someone out there who wants to complain. But I feel like it's concentrated within the vegan movement. I feel like there's a lot more of this type of person.
David, I just have to say,
You know what I mean?
we're having difficulty charging my iPad. We're on 2% battery.
Oh,
well, that's good.
shit.
But if it does cut off and you want to go on, we could always hook it back up with a different device. So for people watching, if they wanted to tune in again, I don't know if that works.
We can try. I mean, we do have a little bit left, and it's probably going to go, isn't it? If it goes, I'll just buy some time while you guys figure it out, all right? Don't worry about that. We'll just have a chat, and we'll... just while we've paused anyway, we have a super chat from Activist, who... thank you so much for the super chat. And he says, direct action saves lives. And I have to agree.
You're a little legend.
Do you know him? Is it? I know of this dude. I know who this guy is. I know the name, but I wasn't sure if it was the one I knew. But yeah, I think looking at the profile picture, I think it is the guy I've seen. Yeah. Cool. All right. So has there ever been a time where you have thought about like giving in to the people who are like, you know, trying to not cancel you, but the ones who are like trying to, you know, call you out publicly and all this nasty shit? Because I know, like Tuesday, I know you've taken some shit publicly, not only with Arabella, but just because you are outspoken. Like I can definitely connect with you on that because I take the same shit, right? Have you ever been pushed to a point where you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to fucking speak out like anymore, or maybe I'm gonna do something different, or you know, talk me through like how you're handling all this pressure. That's what I'm trying to.
I give her a cuddle and urge her to continue.
Yeah.
Of course, I get days where I would be out like walking the dogs or out in the field, and I'm like in my own fields, not like sobbing, and I'm just sitting there thinking, am I such a cunt that I get so many people just rah 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 at me? And then I think, you know what? I don't like people anyway. I have who I love in my life, and I'm fighting for the oppressed. So fuck what any little asshole sitting at home wants to slabber about me and say. If I was doing something wrong, this one here is very quick to tell me, you're a bit out of line there, you're being a bit harsh, because I'm very, very blunt. And he would say, you've worded that a bit wrong, maybe apologise. So I'm like, if he thinks I'm being a cunt, then okay, I am. But if he's not having a go at me, then fuck everybody else, to be honest. Like, so no, I've never once felt like I'm going to stop, because even though sometimes, yes, of course my feelings can be hurt and I can be emotional at times, I'm not being fucking pinned down and mutilated, raped, and waiting on my murder. You know, I'm just getting a couple of dickheads slobbering online.
Yeah.
I think it's nice that you've got that, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't know, it's like a combination. You've got like, well, yeah. And I like the combo you guys are. You guys make a good combo, because what I'm feeling is that Tuesday, you've got the fire. Definitely you've got fire, and I think and it's powerful and it's strong. And Andrew, I feel like you've got the cooling side of things. Like, you're also strong, but it's a very different energy. You've got more of like a calming energy, like you make a point that's strong, but it's not like you know what I mean? It's not fire. Tuesday, you're all fire. And you definitely need each other. You know, you can bounce off each other and you calm down, and maybe Tuesday you can pump him up sometimes, and like it's nice that you've got that. And
necessary.
I think Arabella's got a really, really awesome team to be raising her. I think that's amazing. And Andrew, I actually wanted to mention this to you. Actually, we can kind of a quote I mentioned earlier. I was going to talk to you about a quote, and there's a quote you made in the interview you guys have. By the way, people that don't know this, there is another interview out there that's done like a more professional kind of TV style interview. What was the company that did it? The
Truly one, Barcroft Studios. Truly.
Was it Trilly? Is it called? Sorry, say again.
Truly.
Truly.
Sorry, my accent.
Truly. Yeah. There's a YouTube. Anyway, there's a YouTube channel. I did a really cool video, and I'll link it maybe later, and people could watch it. But Andrew, you made this quote there, and I found it to be really inspirational, and I want to kind of open up the next question with this quote. You said, coming out with your own child and seeing another mother's children being sent to slaughter, you said it helped you to connect with your life, with their lives, and it kind of inspired you guys to always to fight, basically, to say, you know, this is wrong, and the connection's even stronger now. And I found that to be very moving, and something that, like, we said it, we alluded to it earlier, that when you see them in the truck and you recognize that, like, you know, there's a pregnant woman here, or there's a baby here, and these are babies. How Like how do you think is the best way to get this across to people, that to make them see them the way you see them? Like, because when you said that I found that to be like, wow, that's very moving, and I hope a lot of people saw that and also made that connection. What do you think is a way we can get that message out wide scale and have people view it the same way that you view it?
Well, first of all, you need to know that eating animals is not necessary, and then you can start exploring. So, like I say, I watched Earthlings, and I needed to see the graphic footage. And then once that was in my mind, then I realized, okay, I don't need to do this. I don't want to participate in it anymore. Going to the saves, we encourage anybody to come with us and meet the victims, of their food choices. So that's very powerful to see that. Like, I didn't need to be a father, to realize that we're separating families by paying for that. But it did strengthen, I suppose, the emotional connection to the individuals that are suffering on meat eaters and vegetarians' behalf. You can do it like just by reasoning alone. You don't need to be an animal lover as such, just to see there's rights violations going on. And this is a terrible injustice. We're not at war with animals. We don't have to be anymore. So how do we get the message across? Well, I find actually if someone can't connect with a farm animal because they don't see them in their everyday lives, they're very far removed except for seeing a dismembered part of their body on their plate or in the supermarket. What can you do? Well, you could go to an animal sanctuary. That would certainly help with the connection. What else can you do? Watch some documentaries. Certainly watch Seaspiracy. That might help. Yeah. Land of Hope and Glory, local to the UK.
Yeah, I think it would be maybe there's kind of a gap in the market really for this, because we have many documentaries, like you've just said, Seaspiracy, and you mentioned earlier Earthlings as well, and we know Dominion. These are all very, very powerful documentaries, and they're very, very good. And if you're watching and you're wondering, should I watch any of these? Should I promote any of these? Yes, you fucking should, absolutely. But there is a gap in the sense that there isn't a high quality, powerful documentary that just gets into how similar we all are and actually shows animals, parenthood of animals, the children, the babies of farmed animals, right? Because we see this, like we see the monkey, David Attenborough chasing around monkeys in the jungle or whatever, and we see the babies, and people really connect. Oh my God, they're just like us, and then nobody eats monkeys, right? Or not many people. Wouldn't it be great for a documentary to do a very similar thing, but covering pigs and cows and chickens and turkeys and, all of these animals and viewing them in their natural habitats with their own babies and their own, that could be a powerful way to make that connection, couldn't it? It'd be nice if we had something like that alongside.
David Attenborough has the opportunity to do it now. He's beginning to realize he's been a bit of a hypocrite. So why doesn't he focus on the problem,
right?
And focus on that and show them the love and respect that they deserve, at least.
Yeah,
I mean, there are the likes of Chicken Run, and then there's Peppa Pig, but what's the one? Babe, so you've got all these fantasy ones, but maybe a more realistic one.
Exactly. Like a real, like an actual, like they do, like Attenborough's documentaries. They take an animal, like penguins, for example. For me, I never really had an emotional connection to penguins ever. I watched an Attenborough documentary that had penguins, and I was like almost crying. I was like, no, I can't believe this. These are penguins. I've never had the connection with penguins. And now I'm finding myself like practically crying about this documentary because of how they did it. Because you connect with them, the parents, the penguin, the king, what are they called? The king penguins, is that what they're called? How they bond for life and how they do everything, all this horrible shit. Some of them get killed with their getting, smashed upon the rocks trying to get the fish for the baby. And like, oh my God, what a horrible life that they live and what the things they try to do. And it was very emotional. And I think, and it was emotional, not because of the brutality, it was emotional because of watching the bond they have with their babies was just wow, and if we had something that showed that for these animals that are farmed, maybe a lot of people would have a bit of an awakening, right? And maybe they would start to see things the same way we do.
With our sanctuary here, I would like to do stuff like that. Like with our pigs, for example, we don't have their mum here, obviously, and unfortunately. Maybe one day if we do have a mum and some babies, it would be nice to sit down with our child and the animals, because we walk around the sanctuary. I would do lives while I'm holding her and talking about the animals, so we could do something like that. It's not going to
Yeah,
be a
definitely.
massive scale documentary, but it would be nice just to draw some people in and show our child is, well, actually, I was going to say no different than the pigs. The pigs are much more intelligent and have much more personality than our child, who's just a bit of a baked potato at the moment. Only 6 months, not doing a great deal.
By the way, we're on 1% battery, so we
All right.
may well cut off at any moment.
It's all right. Yeah, if it cuts off, try and jump back on for the Q&A. But we'll figure it out. Yeah, don't worry. But I'm glad you mentioned the sanctuary first of all, because we've not really got into that. So I guess what does the future hold? What does the future hold for you guys? Tell us about what your plans are, and yeah, what you've just done. You've just moved, right? So tell us about that, and what are your plans for the future?
Well, she wants to get 5 human babies out of me, so I'll have my work cut out, you know.
Yes.
Might be a bit late in the game because we both started very late. I'm 40 and she's 34, so that may not happen.
Well, I'm going to keep milking him for his baby goats because he's a goat, but we're going to keep doing with our sanctuary. We have just given up my home of 8 years and packed a full family home into a little caravan on a plot of land. We're currently sitting over a week now without running water, but we're making it work. We're filling up big tankards at a friend's up the road for the animals. We're busy fencing off the area. We've got loads of straw that we've taken apart and moved. We're mucking out every day, and we're just making it really comfortable for the lives that we have here, and we've got more coming. And this is the first and only vegan farmed animal sanctuary in Northern Ireland, and while we're only sitting on a few acres of land at the moment, we can still take in hundreds and hundreds of lives, obviously if they're smaller, but we aim to keep going until we can take in as many as we can save.
It's called the Caravan Animal Sanctuary.
That's the name, Caravan Animal Sanctuary. Okay.
The Caravan Animal Sanctuary.
So there's social media pages, there's Instagram and there's Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely. I'll put that in the description, and everybody can check it out. It's incredible. Like you're living a dream. I think many vegans have this dream of shutting up shop, moving out into somewhere, and getting some land and having a sanctuary. I don't think many people really consider how much work comes into it, but I know you guys know that, and I hope you're ready for it.
We're ready. We knew what we were getting into, and we had no choice. We had 2 pigs in our 2 up, 2 down. They were growing rapidly.
Oh, there we go. They cut out. So guys, we will take a little break now, I suppose. I'll chat with you while we figure out if they can come back in with the phone. Whilst they've gone, just remember that you can use the super chat to get your comment featured on the screen. I've seen so far we've had 1 super chat, which was awesome, and please do let me know what are you thinking, what are your thoughts and feelings right now. Send them over in a super chat and I'll put them up on the screen. And if you have any questions as well, you can also use the super chat, and you can use the link in the pinned comment to send some questions, which I can try and fit in if we can get them back. So how are you finding it so far, guys? What do you think about the interview? How do you feel about this? I find them to be quite inspirational vegan couple, to Andrew and Tuesday. What do you think? Let me know in the comments right now what's been going through your minds. Oh, looks like we've got Tuesday back. Hi.
Andrew, hi. I am. Yeah,
cool.
I'm just turning this wrong. Bear with me
Sweet.
just 2 seconds. Right.
Yeah, no worries.
Andrew, it's just got a camera. Sorry, we're having to use my really old shitty iPhone. Is that okay?
It's as long as the audio comes through, it should be all right.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Is it coming through all right with me?
Yeah, I can
audio?
hear you, yeah.
All right, sweet. I can't remember what we were on to. We were talking about the work involved in the sanctuary, and I think it cut off at that moment. But ultimately, you're in a sanctuary, caravan sanctuary, and you're gonna save loads of animals. I think that's where we were up to.
Absolutely,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. It's amazing. It's amazing that you're going to devote your life to that, as well as little Arabella. What an amazing life she's going to have growing up on a bloody sanctuary.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
She already,
we do have
hear a dog bark and doesn't flinch. She has pigs running all around her and doesn't even flinch. She reaches her hands out for them. She sleeps in straw bales while I'm mucking out, or she's on my back while we're pitchforking. It's great.
Oh, it's awesome. Awesome. That's going to make for some really nice content. You should definitely hire someone to come over there and get some really quality video work done, because this is it's gold. It's golden, seriously,
Yeah.
to see like baby mucking up with you like that, helping with the work and with the pigs and stuff. Yeah, it'd be really cool. And we have a super chat, by the way. Vegan Lincat says, I appreciate you and the F-bombs. I'm going to take that as all of us, because you've been dropping F-bombs as many as I have. Actually, you've been dropping C-bombs all the way through the interview as well, which I kind of half expected. But I hope YouTube doesn't demonetize the video for that, because I think the C-bomb is a bit of a tricky one for YouTube. So,
Oh shit!
Well, David,
don't worry.
warned us. It's his fault.
Oh no, I didn't realize there was going to be so many of them. That's all.
You've known me for years. You know what I'm like.
We're all good. We're all good. So we do have some questions, guys. We're going to kick off with them now. So this one is the one that I've been really excited to ask. At cat.phase asks, how would you react to the slightest possibility of your baby going non-vegan as an adult?
Not very well.
We, as I always say, which I'm only half joking about, cattle prod, clean up the fucking hole. No, baby, you're not eating animals. But I would be.
David's face. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Do you have a plan for like what you would say, like how you would try to appeal to her better nature? Like what would be the, I mean, obviously you would want to lose your shit, but I mean, I think we're all pretty well. I think we all know that probably wouldn't achieve the result we would like, right? So I mean, what do you have? Have you thought about it at all? Like, have you really sat down and
We've
talked it
thought about
over?
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
lot of thought.
I think so. Obviously, she's going to know full well what goes on in the industry, but it might just be a matter of reiterating that, re-showing the graphic footage, linking, I suppose, what goes on with the animals that we have here, and say it's much the same. Do you really want to be responsible for that? And also, then, as you say, we're going to talk about nutrition. The higher chance of cancer, of diabetes, of obesity. Many of those diseases that are linked to consuming animal products. So we could mention that as well. Then there's the zoonotic pandemics. I mean, do you want to be that irresponsible that you might contribute to that possibility?
I don't necessarily think that any of that would work, because she would have grown up seeing this footage, she would probably have been in these farms when she's older with this. I think it would be more a case of asking her, why do you now feel that you want to go and abuse these animals that we have dedicated our lives and your life to saving? What has happened that you haven't spoken to us about that has made you feel this way? I'm very, very, I will love you because you're my daughter, but I am very disappointed in you and I'm very hurt. But you always have a safe place here. Come home and talk to us. But I am hurt. And I would leave it at that and see what happens.
I think that's pretty much, I think, the best thing you could do. And I think there's not really another way to do it, is there really? What else could you possibly do? That's pretty much it. What you've just said, like, between you is pretty much what the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing you could try. And that's giving it your all, without shoving a cattle prod anywhere, I think that's pretty much it. But no, thank you for answering that honestly. I know. It's a really tough question, and I appreciate answering that honestly. This is interesting as well. These are great questions, by the way, that people have sent. Most of these are from Instagram, and they're actually, I'll be honest with you, they're from the first time we were going to do the live stream. I got so many questions, and I thought, well, rather than asking for more questions, let's just get these. Some of these were brilliant, so I thought let's just ask these ones. So, all right. This is a good one from Gloria. What will you say when she asks, why do other people eat meat? Because that's going to come, right? She'll ask you that question as a young person, like, why are they eating meat? Why is everybody doing this? And obviously I'm not. That's the question that's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I would say that there's been a lot of cultural indoctrination. Just like your dad used to eat meat for 3 decades before he kind of got a rude awakening, because thankfully someone pointed it out to him and I suppose took the time to make him aware. There was a vegan in that book club that suggested that we watch this documentary because he wanted to enlighten us. So it could just be a lack of understanding of information, knowing the full ramifications, knowing the full emotional and physical turmoil you're causing other sentient beings. I would say a lot of people are just not aware. But then, of course, there are people who just don't connect with animals, don't feel the same level as empathy as Tuesday, her mother, does, and that's what I really like about her as well. She's so empathetic in every way, and it's a great quality, and we need more people that act on it, not just say like a couple of words, but will go out and risk their all for others. So.
I think that's the best thing to say to her. I don't think it's right. I wouldn't turn around. I would say it jokingly, and then obviously say I would be like, I don't think it's right to shame and say because they're cunts, because because they're fuckers, or because they're selfish.
Yeah,
I'll stop with the C word.
it's all right.
Say because they're selfish, or I think we should just say that is because of how society deems it to be normal and it's conditioning, and just leave it at that with her. This is how we raise you, and this is how other people are raised, and we're fighting to change that, and just leave it at that, I think.
Now, there is the other important point that unfortunately it has become a massive industry that a lot of people rely on. They kill to make a living. There's hitmen everywhere. And that's why I want her to know, it's a difficult thing to accept that you're living in this setup. But we're so disassociated, I suppose, from vulnerable beings and the respect that they should get. But it's just become so normal that they're not given a second thought. So I would say, unfortunately, it's an industry that needs to be transitioned to a more peaceful and sustainable production. And there are, headway being made. And we need to make systemic change as well as personal change. But
it's interesting that I think most parents, the most serious kind of coming of age conversation they would have would be around relationships, right? Physical relationships. But it sounds like that's going to be a breeze really for you too, because this is the real kind of intense shit you're going to get into, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Most parents really like aren't looking forward to that conversation because it's difficult to explain and so many aspects to it. But for you guys, like, nah, it's going to be easy. We'll deal with that in like 10 minutes. What we really need to talk about is all of this. It's you've got a big job on your hands. You got a lot of huge conversations to be having. Sorry, what was that? It cut you off. I didn't catch the
relationship.
I think like she'll won't be having the conversations about any of it, whether she will grow up knowing at all. We won't have the birds and the bees talk either. We won't have the why do we eat meat or why do we not eat meat and some do. She will grow up with all these conversations going on around her. So she's going to grow up with one big massive head full of knowledge. Like,
I get it. Yeah. So you're going to
you'll know about carnal knowledge going on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. It's kind of like I see the way you're doing it. I think I met some people in Sadhana Forest. This is a project in India, and they do homeschooling, and they do it. It's not just like schooling at home. They do like, it's not called homeschooling. It's called I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's type of schooling where the child asks the questions and they choose what they want to learn, and you don't push them to do or learn anything. It's the complete flip, right? So if they don't want to learn to read, they don't learn to read. And it sounds pretty fucked up. It sounds really fucked up. But one of the kids, she only learned to read at age 13 or 14 because she wanted to read this book that someone had said was really good. And then she was like, oh, I can't fucking read. So then she was like, how do I read? So her dad was like, yeah, okay, I'll teach you how to read now because you want to learn now. But he didn't force her to learn it when she was younger. You know what I mean? It's a really interesting way of doing it. It kind of sounds like that's kind of the lines that you're going down. It's like when she asks the question, we'll answer the question. She doesn't ask the question, we won't answer the question, because you're not going to push things on her. You're going to let her ask and learn, and you're going to give her the information when she needs it, right? Is that kind of what you're thinking? That kind of the same lines as that? I don't know if you can hear me. There's a bit of lag, maybe. There's a huge lag.
It's like home homeschooling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I think there's a huge lag, guys. I'm sorry.
We move over to the window.
I don't know if going to the window is going to help the connection, but you could try.
Yeah, I think she...
it looks like.
I'll try because I get better. Oh, I don't know if it'll make a difference. But sorry, you can see it.
Oh,
Or stingray. Let me see what's in it.
Sorry about this, guys who are watching. We're just going to try and figure out if we can get these technical issues figured out, and if not, then well, we'll figure it out. We'll see if we can figure it out. Yeah, it's guys. I don't know. There's a huge lag right now, so maybe if we can't get back on the iPad, maybe we can. Maybe we'll have to bring it to a close. I don't know. If we can't get this going, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Want to check your iPad? You can see
oh my god!
Hold on, he's just going to check the iPad.
There's like a full 10-second lag between when I said something and you guys responded.
I know it took so long. Sorry, he's just checking the iPad now.
Hey, don't worry about it. We're all chill. It's all good. Oh look! Oh, it's all the doggo. Hi.
Loads. And there's some pigs. I don't know if we can see. No, the pigs are running around. Is the iPad not charged at all? No, his iPad isn't charged at all.
Hey, it looks okay right now. It seems okay right now. So maybe we can try. Let's try a few more questions because some good ones. I'll tell you what. Let's do one more. Let's do one more question, right? So we don't have we'll see if we can get one more in before the connection's a load of shit. So all right, we'll do one more all-encompassing question. Any advice on where to find help for raising kids vegan, which I would say, to put it to you, diet wise, let's focus on that to begin with, and then just like in general, what advice would you give someone to raise the kids vegan? So let's start with like food. What advice would you give a vegan parent wants to give their kid vegan food, wants to raise them vegan, but doesn't have a fucking clue about what to do, nutrition, they don't know what to buy, where to look, they don't know what they're doing. What advice would you give to them strictly nutrition wise and like food wise?
A really, really good group I'm on. It's called Vegan Pregnancy and Parenting. You will find every nutritional piece of advice there. It's fantastic. It's on Facebook. It's really good.
Okay. And what kind of could you give us a bit of a run through like on what you're doing, like personally, like how you're what kind of I don't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about when it comes to babies and food. All right, so I'm literally just like, can you just tell me what you feed her? Like, I don't know. Do you still breastfeeding, or is she past that, or are you giving us? I don't know. I have no idea about babies, so you can maybe help me learn something here as well.
She was exclusively breastfed, and then she was on a soy formula, and now she is baby-led weaning. So she's having. You were cutting up. What were you cutting up for?
Oh, well, we've been cutting up all sorts. She's had some boiled potato, which is great. Because actually, I think in some countries where they didn't have access to formula, where breastfeeding wasn't possible, you can actually sustain some babies on purely just potatoes in extraordinary circumstances if you need to. But yeah, we're giving her all sorts of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, nothing processed.
It's also important, I think, at some stage, not just give soft food, but also something hard to chew on, because it helps with the formation of your teeth structure.
Yeah. So whether you want to do baby-led weaning or pure feeding, that's your choice. We choose baby-led weaning. Just
baby. What are you saying? Sorry, what are you saying? Sorry, I can't understand that. Baby-led weaning. Is that what? Baby-led weaning? Baby-led weaning. Yeah. Okay. A baby-led weaning is what I keep hearing, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah,
baby-led weaning. Got it. So it's like okay. So she's having okay. Let me just clarify again, because we're getting a lot of cracking up as well. So breastfed all the way, and then after that it was sort of soy formula, and then a soy-based formula, and now it's like various vegetables and fruits that are like mushy. And then so I don't know. Do babies need a lot of protein? Do babies need like a lot of like the same nutritional requirements as we need protein. We need to get like all the different nutrients like calcium, B12, all that stuff. Do babies need all of that in the same way that an adult needs it? And if so, like what are you like? Do you plan it out based on like the nutrition she needs? Or, like, how do you work it out? Is what I'm trying to ask her. How do you figure out what she needs to eat and what to feed her?
If you're breastfeeding exclusively, you need to add vitamin D to your baby's, to the milk, or sorry, to your baby's, like you can put drops on their tongue because you don't have vitamin
Okay.
D in your breast milk. If you're feeding
Okay.
a soy formula, it has everything you need. So
Okay.
whenever they're from 6 months to a year, you don't actually need to add anything because they're getting their milk and they're getting food. It's only whenever they're a year old you need to look into that. And my baby's only 6 months, so I can't advise
Ah,
on
got
an
it.
older child.
Okay,
But we
so
have a vegan
okay.
doctor, so we can ask our vegan doctor for advice.
Cool. Okay, so from 1 year on, you're gonna have like a doctor working with you to get like kind of nutrition plan and figure it out. Yeah, which I guess it's not different from like anyone who has a kid. Like I guess raising, when you put it like that, it's like obviously we hope everybody would raise their kids vegan, but the reality is they aren't, and the ones who aren't raising their kids vegan are doing the exact same thing as you. They're going to a doctor and they're saying, hey doctor, what do I feed my fucking baby? It's like we don't know. You need to learn, right? You need to learn. What's that? Sorry?
Just to answer your question about the amount of protein required, I think that
Okay.
human milk has one of the lowest levels of protein of all mammals. So there's this fixation on protein, and that's because it's pushed by the meat and dairy industry to ensure that
Sure.
you get their products. But we know we can get it from beans, and other plants can even have higher levels of protein. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't be too fixated on that. I mean, nearly every food has some level of protein.
yeah, of course, yeah.
As long as
I was just curious. Because I don't have a fucking clue what a baby needs. I really don't. So I was curious to know how you guys worked it out. No, I appreciate that. And it's what we'll do, that group, I'll get the link for that group as well from you guys later on. We'll put it in, there'll be a few links in the description and in the pinned comment for people to check out, some of the things we talked about, like your caravan sanctuary. There's link to where people can find more information about raising a baby vegan. Maybe even we can hook people up. If you got a vegan doctor, you said, maybe, I don't know if they have any kind of online service, maybe someone you recommend, or no, nothing like that. Well, all right. Well, that's a shame. But we need more of them, don't we? We need some more online vegan doctors. But yeah, I guess we'll bring it to a close because there's a lot of lag, and unfortunately, I don't want to keep you guys on for if it's difficult for you to hear me and difficult for me to hear you. We do have a lot more questions, but maybe we can do like some kind of follow up at some point. We could figure something out because people are curious, and if anyone has any really, really burning questions they'd like to know, you can drop me an email. It's davidrams@gmail.com. It's David Rams. The it's is in the email. It's davidrams@gmail.com. You can Instagram message me, and you could also, I guess I could put your Facebook in the description as well, maybe Tuesday, and people could drop you a message personally if would you be open to that?
Yeah,
if people
that's
want to know,
fine.
want to talk to you. All right, perfect. Well, it was great having you here, and really seriously inspirational for me. I'm really inspired by what you said. I think your ideas, your worldview, and how you're raising Arabella is really like inspirational, and the things you've said and the way you've put it and the way you explain things is really powerful, really cool. C-bombs and all, I loved it, really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for taking this time to do this, and I really hope it inspires others to raise, as if you're a vegan, raise your kids fucking vegan. Like, don't let people pressure you into not doing it, right? It's none of their business. Do you have anything you'd like to say as a closing statement from you guys?
Yes, we're also forcing our dogs and cat to be vegan too.
Oh my God. Nightmare. People are going to be mad about that one.
I just want to say, obviously everybody should be vegan. No excuse for not being vegan. And if you're vegan, just get fucking active. Be an activist. You can be a parent and an activist.
Absolutely. And you're living proof, both of you, living proof of that. Running a sanctuary, doing actions, and raising a baby all at the same time. We've got no fucking excuse. We've got no excuse. If you don't have a baby or a sanctuary, why the fuck are you not doing activism? It's crazy. And even if you do, why the fuck are you not doing activism?
Exactly.
Thanks so much, guys. If you want to,
so much, David.
if you want to wait in the backstage for a few minutes, I'll jump back in there in a minute, and we can have a quick talk. I'm just going to do a little like outro and say bye to everybody and a few important messages. All right.
No worries.
Cool.
Bye, love.
All right. See you later. Thanks so much. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Oh, there's still a question on the there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I really did enjoy it, and I think it was very powerful. It was really interesting and inspirational, and really cool to get some real life vegans dealing with real life shit like family and stuff, and have them open up and tell us a bit about their world and their life and what it's like to raise a vegan baby and take a vegan baby to protests. I think it was really cool to kind of like, yeah, to get into that, and a little bit different for this channel. But, you know, I want to do more of this stuff. Absolutely. Bring real people on and talk about real things. I think it's really important for us all to connect and learn from each other. So I hope you agree. If you really did enjoy this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because you can keep getting access to the content like this. This is... you can hit the notification bell as well, so you get notified when I go live, and you get notified for my new videos, so you can be here first, and you can, you know, get involved in the comments and yeah, be the first to see the new content, which is pretty awesome. If you really like the content, you could join the Patreon team. If you join the Patreon team and become a team member, you'll get access to other content, exclusive content, and you'll get access to exclusive previews of new videos, which I'm doing more and more of, giving the Patreon team more and more previews as we go forward. So if you want to be involved with that, means that you'll be the absolute first people to see some of the new videos. So you should definitely join the Patreon team and support the work and contribute to my work and help me make more videos like this. So once again, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.